everybody. Welcome into our Zoom call here. Uh, we are going to talk about spirit today. Going to minimize my music. Spirit as the last of the elements. You know, it's you. You are the fifth element. It's Captain Planeteers. We are, there's five of us on camera. We're the Planeteers. So who would we be? Okay, I'm being Sarah Sagittarius distracted. Um, well, I guess the zodiac signs are covered, and then I could be what their fifth element, I think, is heart. So I could be heart, and the four of you could be your sun signs. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, somebody focus me. Yeah, Captain Planet, somebody focus me. We are going to do our spirit discussion today. Real quick, because so many of you have not had an opportunity to meet anybody besides me this week. Real fast, Team TSE, before I share the slides, get into it all. We're excited to close out our holistic witchery registration today. So I know Team TSE is Jenna's welcoming people in and doing all the things to make everybody comfy and cozy. Let's go around and say hello real fast. Each of you a quick one-liner who you are. Anna, you go first. You're on my top left. We're going to go this way.
Hi, I'm Anna, and I just got stumbled over a one-liner. I'm the co-founder and Sarah's real life sister and self-proclaimed nerd kitchen witch. And that's it. One-liner.
That's
Leave it to
it.
you by accident. Bye.
Yeah, and if you're in the VIP calls, you've met Team TSC this week, and it's a running joke that Team Sisters Enchanted introduces themselves by saying, "Hi, I'm so and so, and I work here," and then they don't know anything else about who they are. Jenna, and then Patty, then Naomi. Jenna,
I'm John. I will be who you will meet in the inbox and everywhere else. That's what I'm going with.
that's it. That's it.
One liner. I'm a mom of two, and I'm a lifelong learner, and I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. I'm happy you're happy to be here, Jenna. It'd be weird if you weren't. Keep that to yourself. Patty?
Hello, I'm Patty. I have been a member of the Team TSE community since 2017, and now I'm here coaching and teaching and wandering the halls of TSE land. And I'm on the West Coast, so I'm on the early bird West Coast train for all of us West Coasters.
Yes.
And I am Aries. I am the fire element Aries of the zodiac. So of the four zodiac.
Yeah. Anna's the Virgo. She's the earth. Jenna is Pisces, the water. We got Patty, the Aries, fire, and Naomi coming in clutch with the air, Aquarius. Say hello, Naomi.
Hello. I am super obsessed with all of the changes that holistic witchery brought to my life. So I work here. Is that better than I work
Yeah.
here?
Yes. And Naomi was on like a journey when she applied for a job here. And I was kind of like, you're on this journey? Are you sure? And she was like, I am so sure. I stayed awake thinking about it all night long. And I was like, all right, well, onward with the interview process, I
Yes,
guess.
I am very connected with my inner knowing.
Yeah.
So thank you, holistic witchery.
Yeah, so this is the administrative team at Sisters Enchanted. We're the teachers, the writers, the website people. We are the people. If something's happening, we got our hands in it. I don't know what that means for everybody, but we're I like to think that it all is good in the end. And Jenna, the five of us have been here now 2.5 years together as this team. And of course, we've been making magic since 2016 here at the Sisters Enchanted. So you're in good hands with Team TSE. All right, y'all, I'm going to share some slides. I'm going to talk about some things. So Team Sisters Enchanted, if you want to you can go off camera and come back on for our final dance. That's cool with me, whatever you want to do. But they are here in the chat area today. Let me get this presented and off we will go. Off on the winding road of spirit and my mind staying focused. Something about Zoom gives me like a more community vibe than YouTube does. So I might loosen up and be a little more silly than you saw on YouTube. So you just met everybody on the left of this image on your screen. Jenna, Anna, myself, Naomi, and Patty. As I said, we are the it people. We are a female founded, run, operated, self-funded company. There's no wizard behind the screen. I'm really proud of that. In the middle, you'll see Kara and Nick. They teach in our astrology program. And on the right, we've got our Wayfinders, Teresa, Renee, Melissa, Beth, and Risa. And some of them are here in the comments as well, helping everyone out here today. So our Wayfinders help our student communities literally find their way. Find their way around. We have been letting you know Holistic Witchery is open for registration. And part of our transparency here, been letting you know about that all week long. And we are closing registration up today. We close registration up so that everybody is in the same place, same time, and we do our best work when we bring the group in together. So their orientation call is tomorrow, and it is a wonderful time to register. We are diving into the Conjuring Abundance and astrology portions of the curriculum this summer. And then in autumn, in September, the end of September, beginning of October, we will dive into the program in the witchery fundamentals, the foundations of witchery, the magical practice. We are going to bring in some fresh astrology takes for you starting in September. It's going to be awesome. And this is the perfect time to register because you're going to get our astrology fundamentals unit as a standalone unit, which won't be the same henceforth. So when you register, you retain access to the curriculum as it is when you sign up, plus all future updates. And we love growing with all of you and bringing the magic in the way that meets where we are now, and with the world feeling as tumultuous as it consistently feels. The world feels confusing and tumultuous each and every day. We are shifting the teachings a little bit so we can deepen into our self-trust even more here at Sisters Enchanted. We want women to feel like their lives are spiritual practices, come hell or high water, come what may, and that we can find calm, clarity, and self-trust in ourselves. Because at the end of the day, with all of this stuff that is happening, right, all of this stuff in the world, we have got to be able to trust ourselves. That is the people who can trust themselves, and the people who are wrapped up in fear and self-doubt and second guessing what it is they know to be true. That is not the place to be right now. So let's all come back to self-trust. Here's an example from one of our students who joined us earlier this year and set out to feel accomplished and magical and really like maintain their sense of peace during a home remodel. We all know we have these elements of our lives that just shake up our energy. They keep us up at night. We get in arguments. And this person used the tools in holistic witchery to keep their peace, keep their sense of calm, to ask for what they want. And they share with us, I don't know how my mental state would be right now without the tools that are in holistic witchery. So that is a program. It is our program where we bring the practical and the magical together. It is more about creating a spiritual, more than just creating a practice of tarot cards and moon phases, right? You become the practice in holistic witchery. So today we are going to talk about spirit. We're going to talk about spirit, which is really tying in this idea of you becoming the practice. On Monday, we chatted on earth. On Tuesday, we dove into air. Wednesday, fire. And Thursday, water. We have looked at these elements from the lens of you being the element, you being the magic, right? We can do the work of using the tools, and we can be the elemental energies. We can be the beacon of magic. We can be the priestesses of our own lives. And the elements are really teaching us all the time how to do this. We have to remember to, going the wrong way, we have to remember to work with them. And when we work with these elements together, when we work with the lessons of the elements, we become the fifth element. We become that element of spirit. We also learn the patterns of the universe, the patterns of the moon phases, the patterns of the seasons, the patterns within our own energy. These are the pathways to inner knowing, these cyclical rhythms, these these seasons, these shifts, these are the directions, the orientation of self-trust. When we get everything in alignment to this rhythm that the elements bring to us, that the seasons bring to us, that the moon phases bring to us, when we point everything in one direction to the same truth, when we align in that direction, that's when we stop seeking information. We stop seeking peace. We stop seeking the reasons why the world is the way that it is. We stop seeking validation for feeling the way that we feel, and we start to know. When we become that fifth element through the integration of the other four elements, when we become part of the universal rhythm, when we acknowledge our power as one of the elements, the being, the collective of all of the elements, that is when we stop seeking and we start knowing. I don't know about all of you, but all of the news that's constantly coming our way, it's scary, it is confusing. It is the mind spirals you can go in about what's right, what's wrong, what's fact, what's not fact, what's opinion. These, you are the source of truth in your body. And when you feel like you can breathe life into yourself, no matter what is going on around you, that is when you can withstand any storm that comes your way. And that is what being the spiritual practice is. That is what being the beacon, the energetic magnet is. So we have Earth, where we talked about the foundation of of creating your self-care rhythms. We talked about feeling how you want to feel. We talked about the seasons and the cycles of growing and shedding and releasing, and how Earth creates this foundational rhythm for us. And again, we see this in the moon phases as well. We talked about air, and air being aligned with our thoughts and our actions, the stories we're telling ourselves. So are you breathing life into the stories that give you the trust, the confidence, the permission to act, to not act, to rest when you need to move forward, to try something risky? These are in your thoughts that produce your actions through the stories of your energy. And that is the lesson of the air element. Fire, transformation, shadow. Once we see the stories, we recognize stories in our lives. What do we need to transform? What shadows are coming up for us? And where are we creating energy that's causing shadows for other people? So then we're reactive to that energy, right? That is the fire energy. And then, of course, water. This is what we dove into on Thursday, emotions, flow. And the highlight there was remembering that water creates, water changes everything it touches. So water erosion, landforms, right? Water is turning these rocks into sand. Water does not touch something and not change it. So are we creating the flow? Or are we reacting to the currents? Are we just like trying to get in somebody else's current? And that is the lesson that water brings up for us. Are we being reactive to the currents, or are we creating through our own flow, our own current? So we have these elements that are working together. They are teaching us lessons. As I said, this same rhythm, the same cycle can be seen in the moon phases, where with the new moon, we decide how we want to feel. The first quarter moon, we're taking action. The full moon, we're doing shadow work. The third quarter moon, we are creating the flow for the next cycle that's going to come up again. We see this in the four seasons. We talked about this with Earth at length. In the winter, everything is, well, depending where you live, but the winter energy, there's a dead solitude to the earth, right? And then things bloom again, seeds, the wind picks up, moves the dandelion seeds around in the spring. And then in the summer, we're in full bloom, shadows are cast. And then in autumn, it's time to shed. The leaves fall, they dance around, compost, fertilize, create the blank canvas for a fresh winter. And we see this in life cycles as well. I was going to put aging humans on here, and I thought, I've been reminding us all week long that we are aging. that we are in midlife. And so maybe we'll use butterflies instead of us aging. But we see this in cycles of life too. There is that first quarter of life where, we're like children, you're figuring everything out. You're figuring everything out. And then there's the growth stages, the action, there's the transformation that happens. And then there's that last part where, anything is game. There's a freedom that comes in that last portion of life. But we can look at this also with our own lives. Like if you look, I love to think of a lifetime as 100 years. My grandmother, her neighbor is 101 or 102, and she still lives alone. She has a little bit of help, but by and large, she lives by herself. And her name is Harriet. And so I see Harriet a couple times a week, and I love to think like, man, I'm going to be Harriet one day, right? Like I'm going to be 101 with my walker carrying my laundry from one end of the hallway to the other. And so I'm thinking of these 25-year chunks for us. And where are we in those? But we can see this in our hormonal cycles. We can see this in our growth cycles. We can see this in a daytime, right? Cutting the day into 4 parts in chunks of time. We can see this 4 weeks in a month. This rhythm, this idea of 4, earth, air, fire, water, the rhythm of what is the foundation? What am I breathing life into now as I move into the day, into the year, into my actual life? Where is the transformation happening and where is the reset occurring? Where is the flow creating a new path forward? The lessons of the elements can be seen in the moon phases, in the seasons, within us, in our lifetime, in the days of our lives. And this is where that spirit collective comes in. It all comes together and it's swirling within you, even when you don't have a conscious awareness of it. It is swirling within you. Everything is connected. You are the center. And when you can point yourself to one truth of rhythm, point yourself to one truth of a rhythm, of a cycle, of a pattern, aligned to the rhythm, aligned to the cycle, aligned to the pattern. And you truly will stop feeling like you're just seeking for something to stop, something to fall into place, something to feel better. And you start knowing that you can trust yourself. You start knowing truthfully that you can solve the problems that come your way. And part of that spirit essence is trusting your intuition. Trusting your intuition. You must rely on your human intuition, Spock says. That's information about me. I actually really like Star Trek. That is my nerd element. Star Trek is my inner nerd. You must rely on your human intuition, but we don't do that if we are feeling scattered. If we are all over the place, if we are not connected to our own selves, it is very challenging to listen to your intuition. So intuition, spirit, intuition, collective, intuition, higher sort of knowing, being part of the available information that is out there for all of us to tap into, or the information in your inner knowing. Everyone is born intuitive. Everybody. It's where your logic meets your inner knowing. It's a misconception that intuition has nothing to do with logic whatsoever. It does have a little bit to do with logic, because the way that you can sort of interpret your intuition is through the logical signs you're familiar with. So if you look at a butterfly and you think transformation, when you see a butterfly, right? That is the message that you can sort of turn on in your mind. I love to give the example of those of us, we live in places where red means stop signs, red lights, all the red means stop, right? And so if we see big, like red or something, almost like we can feel the sensation of red in our bodies, that is stop. So your intuition is very much informed by your lived experience, by your inner knowing. If you lived on another planet where red had nothing to do with stop, and then you saw sort of like a big red, thing, your intuition would not be like, oh, this might be dangerous, because you don't have that logical knowing. So logic does have a part in intuition. And we, though, struggle to tap into our intuition and feel intuitive because we're disconnected from our self-trust. We are disconnected from our self-trust. Intuition comes from presence. It comes from more intention. We can often think that we want to work on our intuition as its own thing. I want to expand my intuition. I want to practice tarot. We are going to talk about tarot today. I want to be more intuitive, right? It's a, how do I do that? And then we want to work on intuition. And I know this is a thing because we've been doing this for 9 years, and I've heard from thousands of people through different surveys that we put out. We release chakra content, and the information people look at first is always the throat or the third eye. But the thing is that your intuition actually grows from more presence, more intention. When you are intentional and present, there's that rhythm. There are those elements. When you're intentional and present in the rhythm, in the elements, in your body, in your lower energy centers, that is when you are more stable and your intuition can flourish. So we grow our intuition through presence. The presence leads to self-trust. Think of a tree that's deeply rooted. I live where we get hurricanes. We don't get too bad. We get like, maybe a tropical storm, a category 1 here, but it's the trees that are deeply rooted. They are big and rooted that sway in the storm. They don't fall over. That is that presence. The presence leads to self-trust. So when everything starts to sway and be ruffled, we trust ourselves that we can handle it. When we start to realize, oh, I can trust myself, then confidence develops. Now we become more confident. So when we hear our intuition, again, we see it for what it is, we trust it. So it comes from presence, then self-trust, then confidence, then intuition. And this is your lower energy centers at work. Presence is that root chakra. We talked about that on Tuesday. Self-trust, confidence. These are all coming in from your 3 lower energy centers. All right. So intuition is coming from presence. Now, why is it though that is so hard for us? You must unlearn what you have learned. I am far more interested in Star Trek than I am Star Wars. That's another fun fact about me. But you must unlearn what you have learned. We are not taught to trust ourselves. We are not taught to trust ourselves. When you go to, I'm gonna put Yoda back up for a minute. If I can, there he is. You must unlearn what you have learned throughout your lifetime. When you go to school, and I was a school teacher, so I know why this is the case. But you can't just go to the bathroom when you have to go. You can have a stomach ache. You could be having to pee, like the worst ever. But your teacher at school has rules about that. And you are taught to disconnect from your self-trust. My body tells me I need to rest. My body tells me I need to eat. My body tells me I need to go to the bathroom. And we're not allowed to do those things at work too. If you work, I worked a ton of retail in my life, and you are not permitted often to just leave your cash register and go do what you got to do with your body. And for reasons, there are reasons why we can't do that. Somebody has to be at the cash register. The whole class of 21 to 30 10-year-olds cannot just get up and go get a snack when they want to. I understand logically why that happens. And it's also true that at the same time, that completely disconnects us from our self-trust. From a very young age, we are taught to be disconnected from our self-trust. And we have to unlearn all of that and learn what it feels like to be present, to be in our bodies, to be in our feelings, to be in our elemental nature. What are the stories going through me right now? What is the foundation of this moment? What do I need to transform in my energy? What flow am I creating or am I reacting to? Being present in these thoughts, being present in ourselves builds back that self-trust that so many of us lost along the way. And again, we live in a world where there are lots of needs to be met. And I fully get why those structures are there. And yet it is also those structures that do take us away from our intuition and our self-trust. So tarot is one of the tools that we teach in holistic witchery. If you're thinking of that. But tarot is a tool that is loved by most people who enter the witchy realm, right? Whether witch, spirituality, intuition, use the words you will. Tarot is embraced by so many of us, and it quickly becomes a collecting, experience. We love the art. We love to learn about it. I love tarot. I've been reading tarot for years and years and years. I used to play trumpet in the school band when I was in middle school and high school, and I was in Disney World as a teenager playing the trumpet. And I went to the Disney Villains store and they sold a tarot deck with a palm reading book. And I used the last of my spending money to purchase it. This was when it was not cool like it is now. And everybody who knew thought I was weird, and I'd hide it under my bed so I wouldn't get in trouble. Um, but I've been reading tarot for a while, and I can tell you that tarot is a wonderful tool for reflection. And also, as a former English teacher, I love tarot as a storytelling tool the most. When you are using tarot to work with your intuition, I love to look at tarot as sort of a scaffolding tool. So if we think of scaffolding, when you're that we see outside of a building when the building is being worked on or something, it's creating layers, it's creating levels for people, levels they can't stand on their own. So we can look at scaffolding also when we're learning a new skill. So we'll use scaffolding strategies with kids, like if they're learning to read or learning math or learning to write or whatever. We'll give people sort of tools to help get them there. Well, tarot is also a scaffolding tool to your intuition. It is truly a reflection of your inner world. And this comes back to this idea of you being the fifth element as spirit. So all these things that we have talked about this week, when your energy is not in this like focused place, right? When it is all over the place, when you feel like your whole life lacks a rhythm, it lacks centeredness. Every day you get on social media, you see something happening in the world and you don't know how to react, you want to hide, everything feels scary and uncertain. When you read your tarot cards or you look at them, that energy is going to influence how you interpret the tarot cards, right? The way that you interpret tarot is a reflection of your inner world. So if you have two people with the same cards in front of them, the cards have traditional meanings. I'm not particularly interested in memorizing the traditional meanings. I think that you can memorize them for sure. And then also just what do the stories tell you about the images on the cards? But if you have the same cards and two different people look at them, they're going to interpret them wildly differently. And you can always tell the state of somebody's inner world by their tarot card interpretations. If they see doom and gloom across the cards in front of them, that is the sign of an inner world that is lacking rhythm, that is lacking possibility, does not feel rooted and grounded like a beautiful, strong tree, versus opportunity, possibility. The devil is no longer a warning. It is a knowing. It's an opportunity to see, oh wow, I've tethered myself to this thing. Let's undo that. Let's undo that here and now. Let's make the decision to undo it, right? Two different energies. So your tarot and your intuition, truly a reflection of your inner world. The tarot, it comes in a couple of parts. We have the minor arcana, which is the pentacles, swords, wands, and cups. That aligns with the energies of earth, air, fire, and water. Everything connects with the zodiac signs, tarot, the moon phases. It all connects. It's all connected. And then you have the major arcana, which represents core themes of the collective human experience. So the major arcana tells the story of the fool's journey. And it is like, again, major themes that we can all relate to. We can relate to this idea of being tethered to something that's not helpful to us. We can relate to the idea of the the tower disrupting our lives and sudden chaos. We can relate to the moon card and our shadows. We can all relate to these experiences. So today, to give you a little run through of sort of working with the elements in tarot, because there's not enough time in the class to teach all things tarot. Tarot is a lifelong learning experience for sure. I thought I would show you these 4 tarot cards. So they are all the 3 cards. We have the Three of Pentacles, the Three of Swords, the Three of Wands, and the Three of Cups. One of the ways to sort of look at tarot and learn it and engage with it, but also understand your current energetic situation. So your sort of, inner world right now, if you have a tarot deck, is to take the minor arcana cards and get the same number for each of those cards, right? So let me say that another way, because I think I even confused myself saying that. Take your minor arcana, your pentacles, your swords, your wands, your cups, and get the same number from each. So like all the sevens, all the eights, for example. These are all of the threes. Line them up together and look at them and ask yourself, if you're looking at these and they are giving a message to you, what is the message you would receive from the card? And you don't need to know the meanings to be able to do this. Just looking at these right now, I mean, there are hundreds of people here. So looking at these cards for your own self, how do you feel looking at the Three of Pentacles? How do you feel looking at the Three of Swords? What does it speak to something in your actual life right now? The Three of Wands, how does that make you feel? How does the Three of Cups make you feel? And that is how you can start to sort of scaffold your intuition and practice being more present, is looking at the images and simply asking yourself, what is this card saying to me? How do I feel looking at it? Does this depict something that I might be experiencing in my life right now? Is there a way that I can think about my life from a new perspective or a new angle just by looking at these images? And that's a really, really simple, though can feel challenging if you are a person who has not been practicing your self-trust. If you're a person who has been wanting to get everything right, wanting to be perfect, seeking that perfection validation, then it can be challenging to let yourself loose and do an activity like this. But look at and just like baseline yourself, does this do I feel possibility? Do I feel like nothing is possible? Do I feel overwhelmed looking at that Three of Cups? Like, what is coming up for me? And that's a great way to sort of check in with yourself, And then you can tie in the elements and what we've talked about this week. So the Pentacle suit is aligned with the element of earth. It's also that sort of how do I want to feel energy? It's the foundations. What is being put down in your fertile lands right now? What are the first initial steps that you're taking to feel the way you want to feel? So we can look at that slowness of earth. We see earth progress over 1 year, right? That's a slow time period for us humans who who look at day to day and want instant gratification. So Pentacles is slower. It is the foundational elements of life. Then we have air with the Swords cards. We have air. This is your perception. We talked about this with the chakras. What stories are you breathing life into? What stories are you breathing life into? And the Suit of Swords, there are a lot of cards in there that are very confronting. There's like the Nightmare card. The Ten of Swords is 10 swords in someone's back, right? They're laying on the ground, stabbed in the back, it looks like. And that is this, what story are we creating? And how are the stories manifesting in our day-to-day lives through our actions? Then we have fire, which is that transformation energy. It's the shadow work energy. And I like to use the word experience here. And the Suit of Wands and Fire, the early cards in that suit, they go ace through 10. And the ace through 4 are they're filled with possibility. Like anything could happen. And then we have the 6 through 10, which feel different, right? The 6 is still kind of possibility, but the 7, the 8, the 9, the 10, it's a different story being told, a different story being told. And so when we look at that fire transformation energy, are we in the like overwhelm of fire, the uncontrolled fire, or are we in the fire that heats and it transmutes and it cooks our food and makes sure that we are stable and we can safely work with it for shadow work? Are we in the like all consuming fire? That's why I like to use the word experience there, because we are creating our experience. We are through our inner dialogue choosing how we relate to experience. And are we in that like overwhelmed fire? Are we in the sweet spot fire? And what happens when we let that fire go untended and the shadows that show up? And then, of course, the cups is water, which is emotion. It's an emotional story, emotional journeys there. But we can work with these tools. We can work with the tools of tarot as we work with the energies of the elements. And then you are that intuitive piece that comes together and brings the magic to the experience. How you're interpreting your tarot cards or your oracle cards for that matter. Oracle cards can be thematic, they can be about anything whatsoever, which is why I don't use them in the teaching examples, because I mean, they literally can be about anything, where tarot follows a structured linear story across tarot decks. Even when there's variation, even when the art is different, it's still following a structured linear story. And my former English teacher self loves a good story and loves to dissect a story and how we got where we got. What is the climatic turning point? Who are the characters in the story? And I read tarot much like that, but it's the reflection of the story I'm telling myself, right? It's the reflection of the story that I am telling myself. And that's how I love to use tarot. So when you look at the elemental lessons you learned this week, as you come to tarot readings or oracle readings for that matter, you are you're the intuitive center, right? You're that beacon. You're the collective knowledge. And you can take what you know about the elements, though, and apply it to the minor arcana cards, making them a little bit easier to read. And if you know anything about the zodiac signs or how the elements interact with those, all of this comes together when you go back down to the lessons of the elements. When you kind of clear everything away, what do you know about the elements? What do you know about earth and fire together, just logically from your world? What do you know about how air and water can interact? And then when you see those in your tarot, so the swords and the cups together, well, what do air and water do when they get together? What do air and fire do when they get together? What do you look at zodiac signs? If you have an air sign sun and a fire sign sun, so in your household, I'm a Sagittarius, and my husband's an Aries sun. So we're both we're both fire suns and we both have air moons. So air and fire does what? It makes fire spread. Air can make fire be out of control. And we got a lot of fire and air in our marriage. And so that's something I can bring that elemental knowledge in and say, uh-oh, we're about to fan the wrong kind of fire here. We want to fan the good kind of fire. We want to fan the the like, lights off kind of fire, not the fire that's not helpful. So all of this elemental knowledge can apply to every single area of your spiritual practice, and then you are that thing that brings it together. You are bringing it all together all of the time. So the sacred elements, summer solstice, sacred elements. Earth is that rhythm, the foundation. Air is the action, the stories, the perception. Fire, transformation, shadow, experience. Water, emotion, creative visioning, like creating through movement and flow. And spirit, that's where intuition and wholeness, bringing everything to a wholeness, comes together. And when we start to embrace these rhythms, when we start to live in this way, we are begin to make everyday decisions, everyday experiences in our lives using these universal elements, using the lunar wisdom. And instead, again, of just always looking for answers, we start to live them because we're more connected. We are more present. So I know I've been telling you about holistic witchery. We're going to do a little visualization in a few minutes to round us out. It's going to be super short. But the in holistic witchery, we take this rhythm and we distill it down to a mindset framework that we teach you so that you can run through it to calm your energy no matter what is happening in your life. And as a person who is very in the thick of emotional management, often between myself and my husband and my two kids who I homeschool and my grandfather with dementia, these rhythms and the way that we distill it down in holistic witchery is the thing that I do to remain centered, remain in my spiritual practice, and remain in integrity with where I want to go and who I want to be tomorrow, not in whatever is happening to me in this moment in time, not whatever random sort of chaos is happening in the news, on the media, like trying to disrupt my energy. I can stay present in my own self. So, this is the tool and how we bring it together in holistic witchery. All of this. Instead of seeking answers, you live them. Instead of collecting tools, you embody the wisdom. Instead of waiting for the right time for whatever, you flow with natural timing, your own energetic patterns, and everything feels easier. We develop integrated spiritual practices. And if holistic witchery isn't right for you right now, everything that we have been through this week is part of that. You can take everything that we have learned this week, earth, air, fire, and water, and bring it all together and create these rhythms in your life for yourself, in your life for yourself. All right. We did so much this week. Remember, you do have your worksheets too. And in today's worksheets for you, there is a space for you to fill in how you relate to the elements. So there are some starter questions for you and kind of how you feel them, how you know them. So I encourage you to check that out and go through those and get a little more comfy cozy with yourself, your how you engage with the elements, how you notice them, how you feel them in your life and in your energy. All right. Before I let you go, though, we're going to take 2 minutes here and just do a visualization to connect to these elements in our inner bodies and really solidify and root in everything that we have talked about over the last week. You also have on your content page there is I think it's the Gemini visualization. We did just move into Cancer season, but you can certainly still enjoy that and other goodies for you to help you really just harness your light, your big solar, beautiful energy during the summer season. So make sure to go to the content page and check all of that out as well. All right, so let's do it. Let's do a short visualization for you. So we're going to get started by taking a breath, coming into your body, fully present in this moment. I invite you to close your eyes. I am going to close mine. And imagine if you will, everything that's happened so far today, anything, any family conversations, looking around your house. It's early yet in the day, but any energies that you brought here with you that are not specific to you, your elemental experience and being fully present, allow all of that to drift away. Disconnect from expectation, from stories of the morning. worries and to-dos for all the time after this moment. I invite you to put your hands on your thighs or your lower belly or at your heart center. But put your hands on your body to root more deeply into this present place of stillness and connection. Imagine or feel or know or consider the idea of energetic roots flowing out through the bottom of your body, through legs, through feet, through your thighs, moving and weaving and spiraling down into the earth beneath you and through the floor, through your home, straight down into the earth. We pull up from the earth loving energy that is always there, always available to compost, fertilize, transmute the energies that you're carrying with you that do not serve you, that build up again day after day. The earth in this connection is always there to take those, create more stable, foundational, fertile soil for you to stand on and grow. Fill yourself now with trusting, loving, secure earth energy. Maybe you see a beautiful red glow fill your body, moving through your legs, your arms, up through your neck and your head. Earth gives you permission to root, to be present, to feel the way you want to feel. To go through the rhythms and cycles that your energy goes through without hesitation. That earth energy that red energy starts to shift and change to a beautiful, glowing, radiant yellow as your body fills now with air energy. Air comes and reminds you to hold everything lightly, to loosen the grip, be playful. Air is here to support you in breathing life into the stories that serve you in growth, in expansion, in abundance, in joy, in confidence. The stories that allow you to experience the full sensual spectrum of your life experience. Air lifts you and carries away anything it can to open space in your energy for more of what you desire. The yellow transforms to an orange color. The orange brings fire and shift and change. Passion. The freedom to dance in your shadows, to play in them, and to take up space and be the light, no matter what is happening in the world around you. To burn away the desire to fit within other people's expectations or boxes. That orange fire turns to a beautiful, soft sand color, transitioning to blue or green. The color of water, whatever that looks like for you. And water energy fills you reminding you that you have the power to use your emotional strength to create the flow in your life. You have the emotional fortitude to carve whatever path needs to be carved, to reshape whatever needs to be reshaped, and to move whatever needs to be moved. The water will carry whatever it can carry for you and help you as you carve the path forward. That water transitions to a definitive green, bringing us back to earth. Our earth started as red, representing our connection, our root chakra connection to the earth. And as we've gone through all of the elements, we're back at earth in this beautiful green. As we see ourselves standing on the earth, standing as part of the collective elemental experience, knowing we carry all of these energies within us, knowing we are supported by them and we are them. You are the fifth element. I am the fifth element. See yourself in your eye, imagine it or feel it in your body. If feeling is easier, if seeing or imagining is easier, and notice what color you are. What color is your energy? It's your energy as you are fully supported, fully connected, and fully present in this moment. Bring all of the elements, bring your energy into your heart center, feeling rejuvenated, refreshed, clear, confident, all knowing, all wise, full of wisdom, ready to move forward in this rhythm with these lessons. And with an exhale, open your eyes if you had them closed. And just like that, we are done with our summer solstice sacred elements event. Oh, my goodness. Y'all, thank you for participating in that. Thank you for hanging out with us over this last week. What happens next? Well, the replays are up for you through the end of the month. Of course, you have your workbook. You can do the activities in there, the gifts on the content page for you. Remember that we do release a newsletter every Sunday that has all sorts of goodness in it, and a weekly podcast episode. And we have YouTube videos that currently we're doing a YouTube series once a month. But there are fresh YouTube videos at least monthly for you, and you can check those out as well. And we're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, those places for you to catch up. If you have any questions about holistic witchery, be sure to reach out via email. Jenna will be checking the inbox today. I will show you super quick and I'll let you go. This is what it looks like inside of Holistic Witchery. This is the Conjuring Abundance unit that we are kicking off this coming week. Orientation is tomorrow. I teach the first lesson on a Thursday. So the content is already here for you to dive into, and the live classes are supplemental lessons to the course content. And then in 3 weeks or 4 weeks, Anna, Kira, and Nick, and myself and Patty are all teaching in astrology fundamentals, and you will learn enough about astrology to be dangerous. Astrology saved my marriage. It's a story for another day. And then, of course, the 5-eye magical practice unit for you. And this portion we will start in September, but it is all there for you to dive into. And that will teach you everything you need to know about creating a spiritual practice and also using this rhythm in your life as your sort of point of expansion, bringing your energy to clarity. And then, of course, when you register today, we are ordering you the workbook for Holistic Witchery, which is a beauty. I made her myself. Very proud of her. And we will be ordering these and sending them in September. So you'll have it for when this workbook is for the September portion of the programming. And we will order these in early September. So when you register, Jenna will collect your address. So we have that and we can order them for you. And so you can always order this yourself, but we are ordering it and having it shipped to your house. So we'll pay for it, have it mailed to you when you register for Holistic Witchery today. And so if you are a person who likes to watch videos, the course comes in video content. If you don't, if you know you'll never log in, that's what the book is for. You can read through the materials in the book and have the exercises there. And then we put all the materials on a podcast audio feed as well, so you can listen on the go. I'm a person whose life is very, very full, and logging in and watching videos is not something that I am going to, I'm going to probably do. So the workbook and the audios that I can listen to while walking, while, in the car, doing dishes, whatever, is a wonderful source for that. So that is our gift to you when you register today for Holistic Witchery. And then, of course, when you complete the program, which will be in March, we order you a t-shirt as a gift for completing the class. So we are in it to win it, in it with you together for the foreseeable future when you register with us in Holistic Witchery. And of course, you can take the class again and again and again. We don't charge readmittance rates or anything like that. Once it's yours, it's yours. It is yours. And I will say that Holistic Witchery is, if you are looking for a program in Wicca foundations, I saw a question come through, degrees of witchcraft, it's not a religious program. So the degrees of witchcraft and Wicca is a religion. This is a secular program. So if you're looking for that, this is not that thing. It's not the thing for you. It is a secular spirituality program. And a program in witchery as a practice and witchery as a way of life. Yes, it is not based in Wicca. In fact, there are some differences. We cast a circle here. I start them in the North Point. A Wicca practice would start in the easternmost point, often, not always. So if you are specifically looking for a Wicca program, this is not that. And it is a secular spiritual program in fundamentals of witchery and metaphysics and thought work and mindset work come together from my years of working with adults and kids with learning differences and what I know to be true about executive function skills and how our inner brains organize information based on the stories and experiences we've had throughout our lifetime, as far back as children to our early adulthood years. And that is all woven into holistic witchery. We've had about 1,500 people take the program since 2019. And we do the program, we teach it live twice per year. You can join again and again. And one question we do get from people is, how do you keep the program feeling small? And the thing is not everybody participates every time, and we do put up threads for an intention at the beginning of the program, and then we collect we ask you to reflect on it later on, and we read those personally. So if you want us to know who you are, if you want us to know your name, you want us to know your journey, we read those, we take note, and we make it part of our job to be familiar with the people that are actively participating at any point in time. And so that's how we keep it feeling like something where you're not just lost in the sea if you want to participate and if you want to be witnessed and seen. If that's not you, I'm not. I am a person who I'm in online programs myself for different things that I'm working on in life, and I am not one who really participates actively. I'm more of like, let me listen on double speed, get my golden nugget, apply it to my life, see major success. And so if that's you, that's okay too. But if you are a person who wants to be witnessed, you want to be seen, you want us to know you, we do make a point of doing that. And myself, Naomi, Anna, Patty, Jenna, and all the Wayfinders are in the Holistic Witchery community to make that happen.